What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. Please do follow us on our social media platforms below under my name, as well as, of course, subscribe to our channel here. That would mean so much to me. Hit the like button, leave your comments. Appreciate y'all jumping on board. This will be my final show or video prior to the game tonight. It is now 1 o'clock in the morning. I wanted to do this video for a couple of days, but I didn't get around to it. I got so much stuff going on, people, man. I mean, full-time job and stuff like that. Like it's a grind. And at this point of the year, like if I could put out 5, 10 videos per day, I would. But I just don't have enough time to do so. I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of our show, Natalie Lopez, attorney at law. When life hits hard, the law firm of Natalie Lopez hits back harder. She practices in the areas of criminal defense and family law. You can reach her at 954-888-8833. That's 954-888-8833. You can also reach her on Instagram at nat.guilty. On Instagram, please do give her a call if you have needs in those areas. We appreciate you, Natalie, for your continued support of the show. She will fight for you. Let's jump in on the content of this video. This video really is about the fact that we had the wide receiver for Ole Miss, Harrison Wallace III. I mean, he decided in the press conference to make a few comments, and they're not completely blasphemous or crazy, in any way, but they are a little bit insane, if you ask me, because we are sitting here right now about, I don't know, 12, 19 hours away from kickoff. And I never got to what he said because, you know what, I just didn't have time, like I said. But I'm going to jump in on it real fast because Harrison Wallace III said, we have a great O-line, and that will hold up and protect. So it don't really change a lot in terms of the question was, will it change the way in which the type of runs that the Ole Miss Rebels offense runs? And he said that. And there are plenty of Hurricane fans out there that took mad disrespect to that. I can imagine that there are players on the Miami Hurricanes football team that heard that and were like, really? You're not going to change anything? Well, if that's the case, then I'd be very, very happy if you change nothing because the reality is this and remains this. If you don't change anything in your game plan offensively from what you have done, then you are failing in your game plan. And that goes the same for the Miami Hurricanes. If there is not any type of adjustment in their game plan and what they have done, then that is a failure by the Miami Hurricanes coaching staff. There is no game that you walk into where you don't make some type of adjustment, some type of change, some type of misdirection that people have not seen. I think we have seen a lot of different stuff from the Miami Hurricanes in these two playoff games. We've seen Ruben Bain and Keem Mesdor line up on the same side of the ball and do stunts on each other and crossing around each other, and both of them getting to the quarterback because you know what? Guess what? Those O linemen were not prepared for that. They did not expect that. And when you have that happen with guys at that level, it causes a problem. So, it's one of those things where you sit here and say, if you don't expect something different, then you're a fool. And I'm sure the Miami Hurricanes expect plenty of things that will be different from what they've seen on film. So I find it really interesting that the guy would say that. And when the reality is, if they don't change something up, they're going to make it a lot easier for Miami to defend. That's just the God's honest truth. They're going to make it a lot easier for them to defend because last week we watched Georgia get after Trinidad Chambliss. They got after him, and there's a big difference though between the Georgia defensive line and the Miami defensive line. The Georgia defensive line is 124th in the country in sack rate, and I have posted about this in terms of how many sacks Georgia has as a team this year. 20 sacks the entire season in 14 games. Think about that for a second. 20 sacks for the entire season. 14 games or 13? Yeah, 14 games. Are you serious? So this is a team that is proclaimed to be all world defensively, and yet they can't get to the quarterback. And yet against Ole Miss, while they didn't sack him, they had him running for his life. And he made some plays and all that. And even then, there was a danger of them losing that game late in the game. So you have a defense that's not known for sacking people, which has somehow managed to evade and escape national media reporting. And you have a team in Miami who gets to the quarterback at will. A team in Miami that sacked Marcel Reed 7 times, the guy who'd been sacked 10 times the entire season against a high-level Texas A&M offensive line. Sacked Julian Sayin 5 times against a high-level offensive line. Like these are two damn good, two of the best offensive lines in the country. And the Miami defensive line made mincemeat of their quarterback. Marcel Reed, very, very similar player to Trinidad Chambliss. Quick, elusive, fast, a running quarterback, athletic quarterback, mobile quarterback. He couldn't get much of anywhere. In fact, the fact of the matter is that the Miami Hurricanes, the fact that they played Texas A&M 2 games ago, actually makes this a much better situation for Miami. They are now, they can remember the things that they did against Marcel Reed. Now, he's not, now, Trinidad Channel ain't going to do the same shit, obviously. But having played against a guy at that level, an elite athlete like him, Trinidad Chambliss is an elite athlete, and he's going to make people miss. But the thing about the Miami Hurricanes defensively at the front line is they come in droves. So you might make the first guy miss, and while you're doing that, avoiding the first guy, the other guy is smashing you from the other side. And that's what gets very, very dangerous for a quarterback who's mobile like that, because the ball gets left out, it's floating around. And what happened when Keontae Scott got to him against Miami? Keontae Scott stripped that ball, knocked the ball away. Miami recovers a fumble at the 30-yard line against Texas A&M. Big play in that game. Big play. And that's what happens with that relentless defensive line pressure. So, and safety blitzes that come from Keontae Scott. So that's a huge difference. I don't anticipate the Miami Hurricanes bringing linebacker blitzes. I do expect them to bring safety blitzes. And when they bring those safety blitzes, their defensive backs have got to be on point. But even more so, the safety has got to get there. So whether it's Jacoby Thomas or Keontae Scott, they've got to get there. Now, maybe the wide receiver Wallace is saying the truth. Then they're not going to change much in their routes. Well, I wish you the best, my guy, because that's not the wisest thing to do when you're playing a team like Miami. I expect them to do a lot more short passing. They do short passing, but I expect a lot more short passing. I saw them play Oklahoma, and I use that as my main point of reference because Oklahoma was chasing this dude down, and they were blitzing a lot. I didn't like all the blitzing that they did. I thought some of the stuff was unnecessary and actually put them in worse situations. But I'll give you an example. The Florida Gators sacked Trinidad Chambliss 5 times. Again, another team that doesn't have a high sack rate. But Georgia's sack rate's atrocious. Yet they've been painted to be this deadly defense that gets to the quarterback at will. It's dominant. They're monsters, blah, blah, blah. Like, what? I tell you what, I would rather, realistically, when you look at the matchups, I would rather play Georgia over Ole Miss. I think Miami matches up with Georgia. And I'm not saying that Miami doesn't match up with Ole Miss, but I think from the stylistic perspective, Gunnar Stockton is easier to deal with than freaking the Trinidad Chambliss. That's just the truth. He's way easier to deal with. And from an offensive perspective, that defensive line for Georgia would never get near Carson Beck. Never get near him. Never get near him. So, and I don't think the defensive line for Ole Miss will get near Carson Beck either. But there are challenges in facing tempo offense because, I have said that I do believe that Miami will destroy that tempo offense. But there is always that possibility that the tempo offense does some good things and creates some headaches. And you have to be prepared for all of it. But when you have a wide receiver saying, well, we're not going to change nothing, well, do that. Please don't change anything. Make sure you come with the exact same shit you've been doing. And if you believe that your great O-line, which is not a great O-line, by the way, the great O-line that Georgia ran by the whole game, if you think that great O-line is going to hold up and protect against the Miami defensive line, if they do, all I can do is salute you and say congratulations, because that's not going to happen. Because Miami will have new shit for their ass that they have not seen before, and it will be very, very tough for Ole Miss's O-line to deal with. I expect Ole Miss to run some double tight end. I expect Ole Miss to have chip blockers in there like crazy. I expect that. So you have 5 offensive linemen, you have a quarterback, that's 6, and then you have 5 other skill players. So you're gonna have situations in which you have tight end and running back chipping and only 3 wide receivers en route. That's what you're gonna have. Ole Miss is gonna have situations where they only got 3 wide receivers going out against 7 defensive players. And they're going to need that with 4 down linemen. That's how crazy good Miami's defensive line is. They're going to need those chip blockers against 4 down linemen because Miami's defense line is just that good. So another guy talking his mess. He had what he had to say. He said what he had to say, and I'm sure Miami wrote that down, put it in a little paper, folded it up, put it in their lockbox. It's all there. It's marinating. It's marinating. Please don't change. Do exactly what you've been doing. Do it. I dare you. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Do it. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited, nervous, antsy, all that stuff. Don't know how I'm gonna sleep tonight. But we got, yeah, it's 1 a.m. So that's 11, 7, 18 and a half hours till game time. We will be here at 7:15, Hurricanes Unfiltered Live. We hope you join us. Let's get ready to go win a game in the Fiesta Bowl and get us back to a national championship at Hard Rock Stadium. Let's go. It's all about the you. Come on now.